Welcome to this week's edition of Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Mackenzie Collins.
And I'm Brendan McLaughlin. We have a lot in store for tonight's show. We will be reviewing Auburn's loss at Texas A&M, Auburn soccer's SEC tournament run, and check in with Auburn basketball.
Number 13 Auburn was defeated by number 14 Texas A&M 20-3 on Saturday in College Station, Texas. With the loss, Auburn falls to 6-3 on the season and 3-2 in SEC play. Texas A&M's defense completely dominated the line of scrimmage and, in turn, the game. Auburn's offensive line struggled to create holes in the run game and give Bo Nix time to throw the ball. The turning point in this top 15 matchup came early in the fourth quarter when Bo Nix was scrambling away from the Aggie rush and fumbled. The Aggies recovered it and returned it for 24 yards for a touchdown to blow the game open. It was the game's only touchdown and gave Texas A&M a 17-3 lead.
This was Auburn's first loss in College Station, and it was well-deserved. Auburn's offense sputtered for 4 quarters, and the Tiger defense did all they could to keep them in the game. Quarterback Bo Nix had one of the worst games of this season, but he was not alone. Nix went 20 for 41 for 153 yards and 1 interception through the air. On the ground, it was not any better for Nix, as he rushed 7 times for a loss of 18 yards. Of Nix's 20 completed passes, 5 were to his wide receivers. Half of his completions were to running back Sean Shivers and Tank Bigsby.
The running game did not fare much better than the passing game. Tank Bigsby led all Auburn Tigers with 69 rush yards on 15 carries. The next closest rusher was Jarquez Hunter with 14 yards on 4 carries. The only consistent player on the Tigers was punter Oscar Chapman. Chapman punted 7 times and down the ball inside the 24 times. His long in the day was 63 yards.
After the loss, here's what head coach Brian Harsin had to say.
Disappointed in the result of the game, obviously, and Texas A&M's a good team. They showed that. Their defense played well. They played physical. I thought it was a physical game today by both sides. And, the score being 3 points for however long it was, it's just a matter of time before somebody's going to be able to put some points on the board. It comes back to playing good football. It comes back to taking care of the ball and being able to be in a positive category on turnovers and, the factors that come with being on the road too. You got to play good. We didn't play well enough to win today. A&M is a good team, and, there's things that we have to go back and focus on, and same things that we talk about every single week. It doesn't change. It's a matter of doing those things consistently week in and week out. And so plenty of opportunities for us to learn from this and be a better football team. But, it's disappointing. The guys are obviously hurt, as far as just not performing the way that we wanted to. And, that's what we have to make sure that we go back and look at and learn from and use that going into this next week as we prepare for the next game.
Oregon, Ohio State, and Cincinnati all move up 1 spot with the Spartans' loss. Joining the Rakens this week is number 19 Purdue, number 23 UTSA, number 24 Utah, and number 25 Arkansas.
Auburn will look to bounce back from the loss on Saturday when they return to the Plains to take on Mississippi State. Here's what Brian Harsin had to say about the upcoming matchup.
And then moved on to Mississippi State. So that's what our focus is this week. We're on to Mississippi State, on to a good football team, Coach Leach and his offense, and things that they can do on that side of the ball. We're preparing for with the air raid, and I think we all know what they're capable of doing, throwing the ball over the place. So they've shown that. Got good players on the offensive side. Quarterback Rogers making plays, completing 75% of his passes. That's great. So he's doing well. Polk, their wide receiver, has got 71 catches, 6 TDs. Both their running backs are very good. They do run the ball. I think it's a little misleading. You talk about throwing it, they do run it, and they run it well. And both those guys are a big part of their pass game and make plays. So defensively, 4th in the SEC. This defense is very good. So they've shown that. They play with a 3 down, and they'll give you some different looks. But I think they do a very good job of preparing their defense to go play against the different styles of offenses in the SEC.
When we return, we will talk about the other sports happening in Auburn. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sportsline in Auburn. Auburn soccer made it to the SEC tournament semifinals before being knocked out by top-seeded Arkansas 5-1. Auburn came out of the gate strong and on the front foot and nearly got a fifth-minute goal from star midfielder Anna Haddock. On the field, the shot was ruled no goal, but went to video review to check, and it was not overturned. The top-seeded Razorbacks slowly gained momentum from that point on and broke the deadlock with a goal in the 41st minute. With the momentum gained from that goal, they came out on the front foot in the second half and doubled the lead with a goal within a minute of the restart.
At halftime, senior Emmy Craven and sophomore Anna Haddock came off due to injury. Freshman Sydney Thibodeau came on to replace Haddock and scored her first career goal, 1 minute after Arkansas doubled the lead. Auburn kept throwing bodies forward, trying to get the equalizer, but could not break down the Razorback defense. The numbers going forward allowed for Arkansas to counter, and they did just that. The Razorbacks scored 3 goals in 10 minutes to put the game out of reach.
Auburn's season is not over, though, as they received news on Monday that they would compete in the NCAA tournament. The Tigers earned one of the 16 seeded spots in the tournament with the number 4 seed. The Tigers will host familiar foe Sanford on Friday, November 12th at 5 o'clock. If the Tigers win, they will take on the winner of Brown and St. John's. Auburn basketball took down Southern Indiana 68-54 in an exhibition game inside Auburn Arena last Friday night. It was a matchup against an old friend for Bruce Pearl as he led Southern Indiana to a Division II national title in '95. It was a close game as Auburn had to knock off Rust early in the matchup before closing the game out on a 22 run to put the game to bed.
Auburn basketball officially returned last night when Morehead State came to Auburn Arena. Here is Jake Gonzalez with the story.
The wait for Auburn basketball is finally over. Auburn returned to action on Tuesday with a matchup against Morehead State. Morehead State made the NCAA tournament last year as a 14 seed, but lost first round to 3 seed West Virginia. It was a tough test for Auburn to start the season, and Auburn answered as they roared to a win over Morehead State 77-54. Auburn was powered by transfer Wendell Green Jr. and the Jungle, which was back to capacity for the first time since March of 2020. The Jungle was ready to be back, and Bruce Pearl's squad was ready for them to be back too. Auburn used the Jungle to jump out to an 11-0 lead to start the game and never looked back. Auburn built a lead as large as 29 points in the first half and never let Morehead State lead at any point in the game. Auburn's defensive effort was phenomenal to start the game, as the Tigers forced 10 turnovers in the first half. Head coach Bruce Pearl said after the game, the first 15 minutes of the game was the best defensive effort we've had in a while. Auburn forced 17 turnovers overall, and those turned into 19 points. On the offensive side of the ball, Wendell Green Jr. led the Tigers in scoring with 19 points. Katie Johnson and Devin Cambridge were the next closest scorers with 12 and 11 points respectively. Freshman Jabari Smith and transfer Walker Kessler led Auburn in the rebound category with 6 each. Smith finished with 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals, while Kessler finished with 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 blocks. One of the most impressive parts about the Auburn offense was their ability to not turn the ball over. The Tigers only turned the ball over 6 times, and that's something they're going to need to continue as the season progresses. Auburn and Bruce Pearl return to action in Auburn Arena on Friday, November 12th against ULM. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. and can be streamed on the SEC Network Plus. For Eli TV, I'm Jake Gonzalez.
Auburn volleyball split the weekend series with Texas A&M in College Station, Texas. The Tigers overcame a 7-point deficit in the opening set to win the set. Auburn dropped 3 of the next 4 sets to lose the match 3-2. Junior Rebecca Rath led the Tigers on offense as she turned in a match-leading 22 kills. Rath's season kill total now moves to 365, which is 3rd in a single season at Auburn.
In the second game of the series, Auburn took down the Aggies 3-2. Auburn won the first 2 sets of the game before dropping the next 2. The Tigers finally put away Texas A&M in the final set to get the win. Junior Rebecca Rath led the offense once again, turning 19 kills. This is the 19th double-digit kill performance of her junior season. Her kill total also moved into second for kills in a single season at Auburn with 384. Auburn returns to action tonight against South Carolina in Auburn Arena. First service set for 8 p.m. and will be aired on the SEC Network.
Auburn women's basketball returned to action last Thursday in an exhibition match against Miles College. Here's Jake Gonzalez with the story.
Auburn women's basketball returned to action on Thursday in an exhibition game against Miles College. This was the first chance for Auburn fans to catch a glimpse of what new head coach Johnny Harris's team would look like this season. The fans in attendance saw Auburn take down Miles College by a score of 102-42 inside Auburn Arena, in what was a good start to the Johnny Harris era. Auburn was slow to start the game, but their press broke the game open early, and they quickly pulled away. Forward Aisha Coulibaly and guard Honesty Scott Grayson were much of the offense throughout this game. Coulibaly finished with 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists, while Scott Grayson finished with 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. The Tigers led the game from start to finish thanks to their ability to create turnovers. Auburn forced Miles College to turn the ball over 23 times and turn those turnovers into 35 points. Throughout the game, Auburn's defense created havoc, and that aided the Auburn lead. The Tigers out-rebounded Miles College 57-32, and Kai'ea White led Auburn in the rebound category with 16 total rebounds. Of Auburn's 57 rebounds, 20 of them were offensive rebounds, and those led to 15 second-chance points. Guard Annie Hughes led the Auburn in the assist category as she had 6 of Auburn's 21 total assists. Auburn had a complete game as they dominated every stat category, and the Tigers led by as much as 64 points. Harris and the Tigers will look to build on this exhibition game when Georgia Southern comes to Auburn Arena on November 11th. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. and can be streamed on the SEC Network Plus. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Jake Gonzalez.
The Tigers season officially gets underway on Thursday when Georgia Southern comes to the Plains. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. and can be streamed on SEC Network Plus. When we return, we will talk about some Auburn alumni and what they are doing in the pros. You are watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Linebacker Josh Bynes had a big week in the Ravens' overtime win over the Vikings. Bynes totaled a team-high 11 tackles and played in 83% of the Ravens' defensive snaps. Defensive back Rudy Ford made his first start for the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. Ford totaled 7 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and got his first career interception. Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer said, "After the game, I just love the way he goes about his business. Rudy played exceptional in that game. I can't imagine much better."
A number of former Auburn players are making a name for themselves in the NBA G League this season. Point guard Sharif Cooper dropped 23 points in the College Park Skyhawks loss to the Maine Celtics. Cooper went 8 for 22 from the field and 5 for 11 from behind the arc. The former Tiger also posted 6 assists and 1 steal in the loss. Point guard Jared Harper has continued to torch the G League this past week. In 2 games against the Greensboro Swarm, the Charlotte Hornets affiliate, Harper has dropped 35 and 27 points as the Birmingham Squadron defeated the Swarm in both games.
Forward JT Thor was outstanding in his debut game for the Greensboro Swarm as they took on Harper in the Birmingham Squadron. Thor dropped 34 points in the Swarm's loss to the Squadron.
That's all for Sports Night in Auburn. But for more Auburn sports, head to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, where we'll have everything you need to know to stay up to date on Auburn sports. I'm Brendan McLaughlin.
And I'm Mackenzie Collins. For even more sports, follow our Twitter at EETV_sports and follow our Instagram at EagleEyeTV. Good night, and we're Eagle.